Hello and welcome to the program today. I have had an interesting interaction with two very dear friends of mine that are both in a season of life where they are retired. In one case, the retirement was forced. In the other case, it was their own decision. But in both conversations, it was interesting to note that they felt they had so much more to offer, and yet it seemed that in their sphere of influence, their time in leadership seemed to be up for one reason or another. And a comment in one of the conversation that came up was that ageism is racism. I began to think about this from a leadership perspective. And so I've titled this today, Why Ageism is Racism and Why It is Wrong. And I think why leaders are shooting themselves in the foot by removing some incredibly talented people from their organizations. And so today, really, I want to challenge a mindset that's crept into our culture and honestly into so many leadership circles that once people reach a certain age, they need to be put out to pasture, if you will. You know, we talk a lot about diversity, racial diversity, gender diversity, culture diversity, and rightly so, but there's also another kind of bias that's quietly dividing the workplace, teams, and even communities, and it's this bias against age. Here's the truth. Ageism is a type of racism. It's really in disguise. It's discrimination that says you don't belong here anymore because of your age and because of the fact that there's no place here for you. So we are missing a treasure. We've become so obsessed with new ideas and new faces and new energy that we've started to treat experience like it's a liability instead of an asset. But when we dismiss wisdom, we don't just lose voices, we lose vision and direction and ultimately people that have so much to offer. Because the future isn't built on novelty alone, it's built on memory, it's built on experience and lessons that have been learned the hard way. Number two, we have the loss of long-term memory. When we ignore older leaders, we erase the memory of how we got here. Every organization has stories, scars, and victories that shape its culture and its very foundation. To lose those that remember, you'll repeat the same mistakes, just with newer branding. And by the way, you'll probably waste a lot of money in the process. Number three, the decline of mentorship. The second pitfall is losing the bridge between generations. Great leaders and great leadership is built through mentorship and not just management. It requires wisdom and input and investment. If younger leaders have passion but no guidance, they burn out fast and they make sometimes very costly mistakes. If older leaders have wisdom but no audience, they just fade out into the woodwork and make no impact. Either way, everybody loses. What about the rise of short-term thinking? When we silence experienced voices, we start making short-term decisions. We try to do things very quickly, and sometimes there's a great cost to that. We chase trends, we skip due diligence, we repeat failed strategies, all because we lose the people who remember the long game. The future suffers when leadership forgets the past. What about the breakdown of respect? There's also a moral consequence to this whole equation. When we start to disregard older generations, we're really teaching everyone that people have an expiration date, that they're no longer relevant, that the old ways don't matter. And once a culture stops learning and respecting its elders, it won't be long before it stops respecting everybody. What about the erosion of perspective? Ageism destroys perspective. Younger leaders don't see possibilities. Older leaders see patterns. We need both because vision without experience can be reckless and experience without vision can be stagnant. Both are required to have an excellent balance. The beauty of leadership happens when generations collaborate and don't compete with one another. So what's the call to action? What is the answer to what we are seeing in this trend? Leaders, We need to listen to the voices that have come before us. Invite them in. Ask them what they've seen, what they know, what they've learned. You don't have to agree with everything, but you do have to value it. You have to give it honor and respect. Leadership isn't a relay race where one generation drops the baton and walks off. It's a partnership. We pass it forward. We do it together. Otherwise, we're just being foolish. In conclusion, I want to say that ignoring wisdom isn't innovation, it's amnesia. The next time you're in a room making a decision, look around and ask yourself, who's missing? Who could help us avoid mistakes that have already been lived through? Who can help us save money? Who can help us make investments? Because leadership isn't about being the youngest or the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the most teachable, being the most impactful, being the most effective. Listen, this is incredibly important, and I'm asking you to continue to lead with humility and with curiosity. Lead with respect. Those that have paved the way before you and have laid the foundation, have sacrificed many times, and have been very, very successful. It will be to your own detriment to silence these voices and wipe out these incredible people that have so much to offer. Hey, listen, if this has made a difference to you, I'm asking you to please share it with other leaders. And we need everybody. In these crazy days, we need everybody. Any comments and questions, if you list them below, I will get back to them. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Tony Soldano, and this is the Leadership Center.